it being Monday, November the 3rd, just on 2 o'clock. If we could call the roll, please, first.
Mr. Angeli?
Here.
Mr. Barnett?
Here.
Mr. Grabsky? Mr. Labrie?
Here.
Ms. Retzko? Mr. Walters?
Here.
Ms. White? Here. Mr. Zeltman?
Here.
And Chair Partington.
Yeah.
You have a quorum.
Okay, I would just like to beg the indulgence of the committee, the group, to say a couple of quick things. First thing is, I'm sad to announce, some of you may know already, the passing of Al Barnes. How many of you are going to know him, I think, because for many years he was the face of the city for the neighbourhoods, and he did everything in his power to help the neighbourhoods. So I'd just like it recorded, his contribution to the city, and it's a sad occurrence. The second thing is, I would like to, she's not here, but I'd like to thank Marta for chairing the meeting so ably. I was able to see that on the one meeting that I saw remotely. I think it's excellent that a person like Marta is volunteering her time to help the city. Well, the same applies to all of us, but you know, Marta, she did an excellent job, and she's an asset to the city, so I'm very appreciative of her filling in as chair. And the final thing is, if I read the minutes correctly, it is James's last meeting, because he intends to resign. So if you've got anything that you're dying to get off your chest to say to James, this is the time to do it.
You talking to me or talking to them?
I'm talking to them.
Yes.
Oh, and vice versa. So with that, can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Move to approve the agenda as printed.
Motion, have a second?
Second.
Ralph seconds. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Next item is approval of the previous meeting minutes. Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the October 6th minutes with or without corrections.
Second for that, please.
Second.
Ralph again. Well, I've got Ralph as a second. So all those in favour of approving the minutes, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. So we are on to old business, update on consent orders. Who's going to do that? Abby?
Good afternoon. My name is Abby Karam. I'm Assistant Director for Utility Service. Good to be here. Some of you may have known me from back.
Abby?
Yes,
Can I just interrupt you a moment? I see that Albert Carbon is here.
Yes,
Is
sir.
he here in connection with this item, or for another purpose?
No, I'm just here to get to know you guys. Here, I'm Albert Carbon, I'm the brand new Utility Services Director. This is my second week, but Abby's got more details on these consent orders. So he's gonna give the presentation, we're both available to answer any questions.
Okay, all right, so you're here to help Abby on this occasion. Okay, Abby, sorry about that, carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I was saying, my name is Abby Karam. I'm the Assistant Director. For some of you who don't know me, I've been with the city for about 13 and a half years. Last 10 or 12 years been at utility. So I'm gonna be doing an update on the consent order that the city has currently with FDEP. If you could start the presentation, please. Thank you. Just a little bit of background before, a little bit of history before we start the process. Some of you may have been here in 2017 when we had the first consent order that we negotiated with the DEP. That was a consent order on the sewer side, and that was a result of a series of SSO, sanitary sewer overflow. That particular consent order was amended in 2020 as a result of a couple large breaks that we had in the Rio Vista area and in the George English Park, and then moving forward till today. I'm gonna start going over the consent order on the water side. As you recall, somewhere in 2019, we had the incident at the Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport where a subcontractor for an enterprise utility company drilled through our raw water line. That was a 54-inch concrete PCCP line that fed the 5-ash water treatment plant. As a result of that incident in 2019, DEP imposed on the city. We negotiated a water consent order, OGC 1637, and the essence of that was mapping of the water pipeline as well as a valve exercising. And by mapping the water pipes, meaning creating a digital database that is GIS based, Esri based of the entire water distribution system as well as the valve. That consent order was closed effectively on October 18, 2024. The city fulfilled all of the obligation under that consent order in December 31st, 2024. Moving forward, last year, we started some discussion with DEP regarding a new draft consent order. The essence of that is the water distribution system, and we're currently under negotiation with FDEP. It's in the draft form. We have not finalized this particular consent order. Please note that on Friday the 31st, there was a letter from the city manager, went to the commission providing a brief update on these consent order along the discussion that we're having today. For some of you who have not seen it, it's a letter to commission number 25-2016, 25-216. That's the only thing we have on the water side.
Can we take questions now, please? The second consent order is for what and why? It arises out of the same incident?
No, the second consent order, the draft that we have currently, the essence of that is we have a series of water main break in the last few years. And also we had several boil water notices that were in place for an effective period of time. And that was the background for this consent order. Its primary focus on the water distribution system, the piping network, the condition of the piping network, and the reliability of the piping network.
So do we know exactly what has to be done yet under that second?
Yes, we have, there is a series of things that is mentioned in the draft consent order. I'm not gonna go into detail at this level as to what each of those elements are, since we are still in negotiation. But I could say that it's a 3-year consent order. After the consent orders in effect, and we'll look at a general term about having some assessment phase and implementation later on of an asset management system for maintenance and tracking of the maintenance on the system.
So would it be correct to say that if we hadn't had as many water main breaks as we had, we probably wouldn't be negotiating a second consent order. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to judge that as high or low, because it happens a lot everywhere.
I would not, Mr. Chair, I would not tie it straight to the number of breaks as we're tracking the number of breaks on our pipeline system, and we are well below the general guideline of AWWA about the number of break per mile of the system. They're looking at the whole thing holistically in terms of the number of breaks, the age of the system, the reliability of the system, material of the pipeline, as well as some event that happened in terms of extended boil water notices that did not pass quickly. Yes, sir.
Question about the data that we're collecting and digitizing. So what's the name of the database that we're putting this information in?
Turn to Gary, who's the distribution system manager.
CityWorks. CityWorks? Yes. Right, and so we had, the incident we had, where we had that close to the airport, right? Who will have access to the city, to CityWorks, right? So when other contractors are applying to do digging work or ditching work, we'll be able to say, hey, there's a water line going through there, let's plan that out.
So that's a good question. Before any utilities, whether it's us or any construction company or enterprise utility have start a project, they have to call in a ticket through the 811 Sunshine Service. That's a locating service that bring in all the utilities to that area that include water and sewer, gas, FPL, Comcast, and everybody. So everybody comes in and mark their infrastructure at that particular location. And then the contractor, once he's got all the locate, they could start construction.
So I just want 100% sure the information we're gathering is gonna be in CityWorks and will be used by this agency to communicate.
Well, no, what I was saying is, CityWorks is used to monitor the work orders. 811 is used to see what utility lines is buried before they start construction. That's a different service.
So
As part of the permitting process, they have to show the existing infrastructure anyway, so they'll have to request the as-bills from the city for water and sewer.
Well, to help the recording secretary, can you just announce your names, Gary?
Gary Brandy, Distribution Collection Manager.
Roberto Bencourt, Stormwater Engineering Division Manager.
Did you understand my question, right?
So if I may, CityWork is a city tool that we use for tracking our infrastructure as well as keeping all of our infrastructure information and issuing work orders and repairs on the like. That system is an internal system. That's not available to the public at large. Now, the public at large, when they need to have when they have a project and they need to locate utilities, they have to utilize the state 811 Sunshine System by initiating a ticket for a specific location. And then all of the utilities comes in and locate all of the underground infrastructure. That include the city of Fort Lauderdale. We're responsible for locating water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure, and stormwater infrastructure. FPL comes in and locate their duct bank. Tico Gas comes in and locate theirs, and so forth. And until all of these entities came in and located their underground infrastructure, contractor is not supposed to start work at that specific location.
Roosevelt?
The chair asked about the number of breaks and you related, I think you did, breaks to age. And I don't quite understand the reasoning for doing so. Because if you got a new pipe versus a 50-year-old pipe, the breaks are not gonna be the same. So how do we know what's average and what is not average? You said we are below average, and I don't know how many breaks that is.
So the way the AWWA benchmark works is they look at a utility size and how many miles of pipe network they have out there. And they estimate based on that size and the number of miles, a certain number of break is expected, and it's all statistical. They have a top 75 percentiles, 50% percentile, 25% percentile. And they look at it on the aggregate on the miles per pipe and network without looking specifically at the system age and so forth. So it's all statistical.
The trouble is that if I put on my Joe Public hat, that, you know, they're still having to boil water or whatever it is. And I've said this before, I just wish we could get out from under these consent orders, whatever the statistics may show or not show. Anybody else want to comment on this?
You want us to get out from under it, and I need for him to tell us how we do that.
Well, right now, based on the draft, we're gonna do some assessment of the system. And that will tell us what we have in the system. Just keep in mind that in 2017, we did the Reese Master Plan. And in that document, there's a whole lot of information about the city, and there's maps in that master plan about the system, age of pipeline, and approximately when they were installed. So we already have a whole lot of that data already included in the Reese master plan in terms of the assets, the age of the assets. We have some pipeline that goes back to the 70s and 60s. They're cast iron. We have some newer one, and we have some in the middle. So that information is available. Now, the assessment phase will look at all that information and update whatever's been installed from 2017 into the system, looking at the data that we've been collecting from 2017 to current. And they'll do some assessment in terms of probability of failure, consequence of failures, and something along those lines. And we would provide a report to DEP.
And I do happen to know through somewhat insider knowledge that the city made a somewhat slow start on the recommendations of the Reese report and been kind of catch-up mode ever since. Do you know anything about what that breakage of the large water pipe that initiated the first consent order, that went to litigation, didn't it? Do you know what the status of that is? Because it was, as I understood it, it was the contractor for FPL that broke into
The one at the
Yes.
2019?
Yes.
Yes, that was a situation where a subcontractor for FPL drilled through our pipe.
Do you know that was going to be litigated, I thought? Do you know, is that still ongoing? Do you know?
That case is already settled.
Ralph?
My understanding was that FPNL not only was at the wrong site, but they didn't get any authorization to proceed with that work.
Well, I mean, again, there was a lot of things that were mentioned at that time in terms whether they were in the right spot or not the right spots and all that. There was a lawsuit that went through the court system, and the lawsuit have come up with the determination that they are 98% at fault for drilling through that area without having the proper locate from the 811 Sunshine System.
No, that's about right, I guess. I'd have it 99.5, but that's okay.
Well, we're in the same ballpark.
Okay, anything else on the water? Carry on the wastewater, please, Abby.
Sure. On the wastewater side, as I mentioned earlier, it started in 2017. That was the first one that we negotiated. and that will result as accumulation of sanitary sewer overflow from the 2014 to 2017 area. There was a sets of requirement under that involve engaging Hazen and Sawyer to do all kind of assessment as well as a condition assessment of the pipeline pump station on the sewer side. That consent order was further amended in 2020 as a result of the big break on the 54-inch in Rio Vista and the big break that happened in George English Park. So currently, we're in the process of negotiating a new consent order that is primarily focused on the I&I reduction. The original deadline for the original consent order is completion of September of 2026. That was essentially a 10-year program almost, and then that duration got extended a little bit to March 2027. So the original from 2017, the first amendment in 2020 has an expiration date in 2027. And as the box in orange shows, we're currently in negotiation with a new amendment of that consent order focusing on I&I reduction.
Okay, so we have been making huge efforts on the I&I, I know that. So nonetheless though, DEP found it necessary to ask us to enter into another consent order to do with that?
Well, originally there was two philosophy on that. When we learned that the DEP is going in the direction of a consent order. Philosophy one that would focus on close up the old consent order, negotiate a new one for I&I reduction. Philosophy number two is amend the original. We were at the city in favor of option one. However, DEP is very adamant about doing it as the second option. And that's where we currently are in terms of this current draft that we have on hand.
Do you know if that means that we're gonna have to increase the amount? We've been allocating a lot of funds to I&I. Do you know if this means we're gonna have to increase the funding again?
We have, and as you all know, I think there has been presentation to the ITF about our I&I program management where folks have come in and gave a presentation about the effort that we're going. As you may recall, somewhere about a year and a half ago, the city went to the commission. We hired Ardura, consultant from Miami. They are analyzing and currently assessing the entire all the basins in the city. And as a result of that effort, they will be devising a phased program for I&I throughout the city. That's a phase approach. I think the way they're defining it, there's phase 1A, 1B, and they're currently doing some work throughout the city by doing some smoke testing. So we already ahead of DEP in the sense we started our I&I program about a year and a half, and now we're currently negotiating with DEP. We already have a head start on that.
So, but nonetheless, it's correct to say that we're currently wrapping up 2 consent orders, if you consider both water and wastewater. And we're about to, or have started on 2 more consent orders, is that right? So there's 4 consent orders that are out there kind of thing, albeit that 2 are
Right
about
now,
to wrap up.
what we have on the table is 2 new draft that we're negotiating, one on the water side for the water distribution system and the sewer draft that is on the sewer system for I&I reduction.
Okay, Any questions on this, Tom?
So a progress on the original consent order that was in place in 2017, amended in 2020. There is 76 total milestone, 71 out of those 76 are completed, and we have completed 54 ahead of schedule, and all the projects remain on schedule. As I said, the original expiration date of September 2026 have been extended by the EP to March 2027. And this is the series of projects that are currently ongoing as part of the amended consent order in 2020. And we have some staff from engineering could speak of about each one of them. Gabby, if you wanna take it over.
Yes, hello, Gabrielle Bork, Senior Project Manager here at the City of Fort Lauderdale. So I'll just go through the list, for the first one, the Northeast 25th Avenue 24-inch force main replacement. This one is mostly complete pending Broward County, certification and permit closeout. The second one is the Northeast 38th Street and Northeast 50th Court force main replacement. This one, we are nearing the end to connect to the city's repump B station. The contractor's currently working along Northeast 38th Street. Expected completion ahead of schedule, sometime early next year. Number three, the rehab replacement of the 48-inch, 54-inch force main. This project is currently underway. They are working in the Beverly Heights and Victoria Park neighborhoods. They recently completed in Harbordale and Rio Vista. And this one's on schedule to be completed next year before September. The last one is the GTL 54-inch effluent force main replacement. The contractor's currently in phase 3 of the project, connecting to the city's injection wells. We did request from FDEP an extension of the completion date, which was approved to March of 2027 due to the issues right now with tariffs and construction materials, increase in prices, and delays due to those items. Okay.
You got more projects to go through?
Yes, so
Question on one of
yeah,
them.
any questions on those first, the last page?
That 54-inch that runs through Rio Vista, etc. As I understood it, the idea was that a new main was being laid and the old one was going to be rehabbed to act as an emergency. So are we at a point where if push came to shove, the old one could now be used as an emergency bypass?
Yes, so we are creating redundancy in the system through this project. And actually, so we have done CCTV of, I'd say, 90% of the system, and the areas that we've seen are actually in better condition than we expected. But the entire old line is being rehabbed and lined through cured in place pipe rehabilitation.
That's not complete, right?
No, that's the one that's number 3 on the list to be completed by September of next year.
Mr. Chair, let me add, we put in new pipe
Yeah.
completely from GTL all the way to be repumped during the 2020-2021. That was what we call the original redundant line. And then later on, the last couple of years, staff went back and they are rehabbing the old line so that at the end of the day, we will have a brand new pipeline that is HDP that run from GTL to be repumped. And we're gonna rehab the old line that was in the ground that broke in 2019 and 2021.
So currently let's call it the material is in the new line, right? And you're working
The
to
flow is
rehab
currently into the
the
new
old
line.
line that
We're
broke
currently flowing the
originally.
new line, correct. Any further question on the first batch?
Okay, the next projects, number one here is the effluent pump standby generators at the GTL wastewater treatment plant. The contractor's currently working to install the generators by the completion date of May next year. And then number two on this list is the semi-annual reports that are submitted to FDEP. Staff is currently working on, or actually just turned in the one, oh no, sorry, it does say 2026. They're working on the ones with Hazen and Sawyer for next year.
So I,
Some pictures of the projects. Oh, did you have questions on that?
so I, those pumps, I think the lack of standby generators, or them, whatever it's there, not working effectively, is what contributes. Every so often, we hear about, treated water that has to be diverted to the intracoastal, and we have to report on that. And if my memory serves, some of that is because the power went out. Is that correct, do you know?
Mr. Chair, that's correct. When DEP, when we negotiated the first amendment in 2020, one of the element of that amended consent order was backup generator power. And as a result of that, we were required to install a complete backup power for the whole system in order to operate the plant in case FPL feed goes out.
Yeah.
And there was two requirements. One immediate requirement that was imposed is you folks need to get at least one generator in place like as soon as possible. And then what we negotiated is because we were coming out of COVID and there was a lot of issues in terms of supply chain and the ability of getting generators quickly as well as building and constructing a entire backup power. That's about 10 to 12 megawatt of power. So immediately we were required to bring in one generator and then work on the remainder as part of the requirement within the original deadline of September 2026. That first generator were brought in quickly in 2021, 22, and now staff is working on installation of the remaining 4 generator that's gonna provide full backup power to the GTL wastewater treatment effluent pump into the well field. And that's the project that is shown as P12529 that is currently going, it's on schedule.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So these are some of the projects, this is the project currently being done in the city of Oakland Park, along Northeast 38th Street by DMSI. This is the rehab replacement of the 48-inch, 54-inch force main. These specific pictures are from the Beverly Heights and Victoria Park work that's going on right now by Lonzo Construction Company. This is the GTL 54-inch effluent force main replacement. This work was ongoing inside the Port Everglades property. That phase was completed a couple months ago and when the contractor reached the city's deep injection well field. And then this is another picture of the 54-inch effluent force main replacement. This is the temporary generator at GTL installed.
So this is the first one they require us to get in immediately in, after negotiation of the 2020 amendment.
And then this is the current work ongoing for the 4 generators at GTL.
Current work on the 4 generator pad. We have acquired these generator as owner furnish equipment because of the long lead time. The city purchased those separately. We have those generators already stored at the Prospect well field. Once they finish with the pads, we'll bring those in and the contractor will install them, hook them up, start them up and commission them. That concludes the presentation.
So that's everything?
That's everything.
Anybody got any questions on this at all? So with that, perhaps, since we have our new utilities director, just ask him, I was gonna request that he came to another meeting, but now he's here. Perhaps he could introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his background. I should probably say, in the interest of due diligence,
We'll start with Albert.
that I used to work for Albert and for a number of years, and I'm very pleased that he's come back to the city.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Because Peter and I worked for the city a long time ago. Again, Albert Carvin, Public Works Director for Utilities Service Director for the city of Fort Lauderdale. I was previously as the Public Works Director, been gone about 13 years. And well, I'll stand by Peter, he knows all the stories. Most recently, I've been the Public Works Director for Oakland Park. Since leaving the city, I worked a little bit in the private sector. A project you might be familiar with, the C-51 reservoir. I worked for it when I was in the city, and I went to work for the developer and the contractor for the C-51 reservoir. Having to do with what the discussion is going right now, just I do a lot with the American Public Works Association and currently the chair of the Utilities and Public Right-of-Way Committee, which has to do with those underground service work, working with Sunshine 811 to make sure the proper calls are made and how to go through that procedure. We work with the Sunshine Brews and the rest of the communities throughout the state of Florida, trying to make sure that system is more robust, making sure that people get the proper as-built information and the proper atlases so they can do the proper marking. As far as the City Works, when I was in Oakland Park, we implemented a City Works asset management system. So it's loading those assets in so you know what the age of it is, you know, you do preventive maintenance, you know what you need to replace, you have proper inventories, and you're ready the state of the art of the system. So we're all going through that. The city's had this for several years. It's just really starting to get into the utility section. So hopefully with Gary's assistance and Abby's assistance, we can get that system uploaded. As far as the consent orders, we do have Ingrid Kingdom, and she is our program manager that's been working with the consent orders, and she's gonna continue with those through the one amended one and the possible new one on both the water and wastewater side. So if there's any questions, I can answer.
Well, on behalf of the city and everybody on the infrastructure task force, we welcome you, and there's plenty to do. As I understand it, tomorrow on the agenda, there's an update on the new water treatment plant on the conference agenda. So if you're interested in that, you may want to try and catch that either at the time it's done or on the recording. So with that,
I just got to cut.
sorry,
question
Roosevelt.
off. Well, thank you for joining us, not us, but the city. And hopefully you will prosper in this and make us better than what we actually are. And this is a bunch of real good folks, but they ask hard questions. And I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind any questions. Okay? All right, thank you very much, guys.
So I don't see any need for anybody connected with this item to stick around. Do you? Anybody else think they should stay? We don't have much else to discuss, but if they want to leave, they can, I think.
I had a question.
You did? Okay.
Were we gonna do the other things on the agenda?
Yeah.
But I have a question.
I'm gonna stick around.
No, I wanna talk about stormwater. but that's separate.
But it is, does that come up later on the agenda then?
Yeah.
Okay,
General
so yes,
comments.
if you wouldn't mind staying.
Welcome. Oh, fine, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
So we've done the update on consent order. And now we have, is there any new business? There is no new business, right?
No new business today.
So now we do the public works update for water and sewer breaks. We have a map here and a spreadsheet on that. Questions on that? Seen these things before.
So under, I think this is breaks, water main breaks, we had a total of 5 breaks. It looks like 3 are associated with the age of the equipment. 2 were contractor hits. Question on what are the repercussions to contractors when they hit one?
We issued them an SI, which is a service interruption. Okay. We charged them for water usage, equipment, and the crew who actually goes out to do the repair.
Okay,
So and say, for instance, if a leak lasts like, it goes by hours, so if we have a leak that lasts 8 hours, we charge them.
and do we generally do we get paid for those or?
Yeah, the city gets paid for it.
So we're currently will be re-examining our cost recovery on a lot of these incidents. We have a lot of incidents where contractors working throughout the city, they mess up with our system, whether it's on the water side, sewer side and all that. We'll be re-examining the cost recovery structure for that, making sure that we get fully reimbursed for every cost associated with those.
Okay. Is there a penalty if they don't call into the sunshine system to get clear before? Is there a penalty escalator if they don't do it?
I'm not aware if the 811 has any penalty per se. Currently, our recovery,
He knows.
Well, I don't know exactly what but state statute does have a state statute penalty for anybody who does it. Was it 10,000 or 25,000?
I wanna say 10.
Yeah, it's something in that neighborhood for just not calling.
Exactly, so.
That's it, and that's the minimum. If you dig without calling, there's a direct penalty.
So these 2 breaks we had this month, if they didn't call, we recoup our cost and they pay 10,000.
Well, they don't pay, they
No,
pay
it's
state
just
systems.
stable.
I would love the money, but no, they.
I would love the money too.
They have to pay the sunshine people.
Okay. Alright. That's all I had, thank you.
okay.
Alright, so that's that item. General discussion and comments, committee members. James?
Yes, I had a question regarding the stormwater program. And, you know, we've got the Hazen and Sawyer has provided their recommendations on the ranking of the neighborhoods for the next tranche of development. And we went before the city commission. There was no decision made at that time to approve or disapprove. And I just wanna know, the last time I brought this up, we were told that there was gonna be a back to commission during the month of November,
Yep, November 18th.
and here we are. So when is it?
November 18th.
The 18th. And what's going to be presented? Is this gonna be a discussion or what's, do you know?
Essentially, we're just going over the qualitative rankings that were in the previous presentation.
It's about the qualitative ranking.
Yeah, that's what one of the commissioners brought up. So hopefully they're okay with it and we have a list.
So Hazen and Sawyer's talking more about the qualitative, is that it? That's what
Yeah,
you're-
but it's not Hazen, it's staff.
It's the staff who's gonna be
Yeah.
presenting qualitative data,
Correct.
okay.
So it's based on, cost distribution, cumulative construction impacts, can't remember the other two right off the top of my head, but it'll be on the 18th,
Okay,
commission conference.
so and then Commissioner Sorensen brought up at the last meeting, when Hayes and Sawyer did their presentation about accelerating the whole program. Has that been discussed at all, or is that anything that's coming out of the staff meetings?
The last I know is where, the way that the bonds are being distributed over a 3-year period. So we'll be getting around 330 million-ish this year, and we'll just have to see how the future 3 years and 3 year after that and the 3 year after that comes as far as bonds are concerned.
But does that compute into more rapid development, more rapid implementation?
I mean, we can do stuff as fast as we're funded.
Brad, what do you?
Todd Height, Chief Deputy Director. Funding is the biggest issue. The way costs are going for projects now, and it's always a challenge. So accelerating any type of project is always gonna be contingent upon funding and the bandwidth with it, amongst existing staff. But we always look for grants and other opportunities to try to offset some of these costs for these projects. It's finding the right grant, finding the right opportunity, finding the right timing. But we always have that as when we're doing projects in the back of our mind to look for grant opportunities to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty hot topic in my neighborhood. Last week, we had our flash flooding.
What neighborhood's that?
Quincetia Heights,
Okay.
5 to 6 inches, 15th Avenue was flooded, 18th Street was flooded. We're not, my neighborhood is not in the top 4 of that first group, so.
Understood.
Okay, so on the 18th, well, I'll be there to speak, so.
So James, you obviously watched the last presentation.
Yes, I did.
What was said about funding in relation to them? They made no decision on the priority of those neighbourhoods,
Well,
as I
they
understood.
didn't decide, the ranking was presented, and they ranked the 12 projects accordingly based on the objective and the qualitative information that they collected.
Well,
And-
not qualitative, just quantitative.
Okay, quantitative.
Was anything said on the funding? On
Well,
we
they
can go
did-
to, or?
I can't remember exactly, Peter, I don't, only that I think everyone realizes it's very expensive what they need to do, and it's gonna take years, and it's more really about the time than I think the money, but of course they're related.
You also need to, keep in mind as well is the bonds that we're allowed to go for is based on the existing rate structure and based on what the current rates are to pay for the bonds. So there's,
Yeah, well,
that's always gotta be in the mix as well as when allocating money.
the city has like a maximum amount that it's desirable that they bond for at any one time kind of out there.
And we have to show that the existing rate structure or proposed rate structure is able to support those repayment of those bonds.
Right, I remember Susan Grant gave a presentation that talked about, kind of like what's the capacity to take on more debt. And there was some, but not tons by any means, so.
Yeah, these bonds are strictly, I'm assuming, just stormwater obligation bonds. They're not like geo bonds, they're strictly based on the stormwater revenue, so we have to support these bonds.
Yeah, there was a Stantec model that kind of showed sort of the debt distribution.
If we can go back just a few years ago, I believe the allocation for those 3-year projects was actually $1 billion, pending rate hikes and all the other stuff that everybody's gonna get mad about. But in the meeting the other night, they didn't talk about rate at all. I would assume that the $1 billion is still there, 300,000, 300,000, and 300,000. And Now, my question is that one bond with 3 drawdowns or is it 3 different bonds?
I'm gonna figure it's different bonds, but I'm not a finance expert.
Wow.
But I will say, I mean, this was before I was here, but the estimate for this used to be 500 million. Billion's relatively new. So it's not, there wasn't $1 billion just, sitting there or was expected.
Roosevelt, I had a brief discussion with Amelia about asking somebody from finance to come to one of our meetings to talk about bonds, what's out there, what else is on the horizon, and how many bonds we can support for this going forward. So hopefully we're gonna have a fairly detailed discussion about that
I've been,
in the not too distant future.
I've been highly concerned about over bonding.
Yeah.
And run all of us into bankruptcy one at a time. But I just wanna make sure that when we talk about these particular projects, remember, we have a whole lot of other projects yet to come that has no money allocated to it yet. And those are sidewalks and pavings and bike paths and some places you have, but other places you don't. And that bonding gotta come somewhere.
Well, at this point, it behooves me to remind all of us that at some point a few years back, and we've reiterated it several times, we told the commission we feel that they should allocate 10% of the
Yes, we
general
did.
fund to the
Yes, we
sorts
did.
of projects you're talking about. But it's a very hard thing for them to do. But we have said that, and that was obviously what we felt, even going back before me. I think you were on that then. That was felt to be the way to trying to get through some of these extensive other projects. All right, so we're doing committee members 1, 2, 3. Greg? Sorry.
I've got a proposal for us to change our future agenda. So this is just an idea, I've not presented anybody, so every month we're getting a presentation about a different major project. And we're always leaving those projects, like, here's the status of the project, here's where we're at, right? And we're not tracking the key major milestones of those projects going forward. As an example, the new police station, we had a very detailed presentation on that. I think the next major milestone would be occupancy, right?
Moving. Moving is next.
Well, that's the issue, is so many of these projects we have, the key milestone moves.
It's half a
So
million dollars to move.
I'd like us for these major projects to track in our meeting notes the next major milestone and whether we're on track or not. And that will draw if it's off track, that will draw our attention to get that back on the agenda to talk about it again. So an example, new police station occupancy, we had the meeting, I didn't write down what the date was because I couldn't understand what it was.
The police station is a weird one, isn't it? But carry on, sorry.
Okay.
March, but then they had things they had to.
Yeah, I think it's March.
March, but then they had flies in the ointment on different things.
Right. Then 5-ash water treatment going online, is that still September 2026?
Well, I assume that the commission's gonna hear about that tomorrow. And remember I said that there's a presentation on the status of that.
So to the chair point, there will be, I believe, a presentation tomorrow at the conference regarding the police station, as well as gonna be presentation on the Prospect Lake water treatment plant, and both are slated for the afternoon conference.
Understand. But we're getting reviewed on these projects, right? So in recent memory, we've talked about Victoria Park water project, or stormwater project. I had January 2026 to start that.
Yep.
Okay. New police station occupancy, we talked about 5-ash water treatment online September 2026. What's the next major milestone for the city hall project? What's the next major milestone for the city sidewalk project and the seawall project? So we've had reviews of all of these, right? And I would like it in our meeting notes, just all these different things we reviewed. Here's the next, I'm not asking for the entire, all the milestones, just the next
The
major
next
one. Are we on and off track?
Maybe we should have a sheet of paper each time with major projects on and like a couple of sentences on where it stands now. Do you want to list a few now, or do you want to discuss what we need statuses of at the next meeting?
I think we should
Name
go,
a few now.
I can name that some now, and I think we should go back at least 12 months of our meetings.
If those can be going to the minutes when you talk now, maybe staff will give us like a draft of how they see tracking those. I envision it doesn't need to be more than one piece of paper
I agree.
with the projects listed and just 2 sentences on where we stand,
Exactly.
particularly with dates is very useful to your point.
Yes, on track, off track.
Yep.
Right. So the ones I had, I wrote down the Victoria Park Stormwater Project. I had January 2026 to start. You've confirmed it's on track to start. New police station occupancy. I'd like to know what our target is. I know it's 2026. I think it's March. 5-ash water treatment online. And online means pumping water to a user, September 2026.
That's for Prospect Lake. The new
Yeah.
water, Prospect Lake Clean Water Center.
Yes,
Prospect Lake?
that's
5-ash is already accomplishing that.
Let's hope so. You're right on schedule.
Right. The city hall, what would be our next major milestone for city hall? Is that?
Don't know if anyone in
Good
this
question.
room could.
So I believe there was a letter to the commission from the city manager about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago regarding an updated status on the city hall and the various proposals that came in.
I know we were trying to get a representative, city representative, what do we call that person who represents the city on that whole process?
what, like a construction
Owners-
manager?
Huh?
Owner's rep?
Owner's rep, exactly. So I think that was the next
No, they have
milestone.
that, it's done,
That's done? So owner's
Yeah,
rep was appointed and then so,
that's done.
That's on board.
They've narrowed it to 3 companies. That just happened a couple weeks ago.
Recently, but did they decide?
They
whether
had 5 or 6 and they narrowed it to 3.
No.
so, okay.
And they're waiting for the next, will be their next presentation.
What else do you have, Greg?
We had the whole presentation on the city sidewalk project, but I just got the feeling that was an ongoing project, that there was no major milestones on it.
Well, it kind of is along, it's kind of, as they get funding, they build, 300 yards of sidewalk somewhere. Which
And
is
then
kind
this-
of
Yeah, and then the seawall project was similar, but there was an objective to get all the city-owned property seawalls completed by blank date, and I can't remember.
So
what
I think in the
that was.
context of that, our request would be, can we have progress of sidewalks and seawalls with objectives 1/2 mile by such and such a date, something like that.
No.
Roosevelt?
You know I got a problem with this.
There's,
Here is my thing. If you're looking for objectives, then you can only deal with what the city is doing, city-owned seawalls, or mandates from the city to private owners. And I'm telling you guys, that's a problem.
It is a problem.
But I'm thinking that we
Huge problem.
can only ask for progress on city-owned stuff.
City-owned, right? So, and that's all I think we should
Yeah.
ask, right, is on the city-owned project. for the,
But
for
I-
X number of miles of city on seawall,
But
what is our objective?
what good does it do to do the city? And this, my problem is, I don't have the money to do my wall.
Right.
But city, you got this side and that side, and you fix that. You haven't fixed the damn
So
seawall.
I
The
completely
water gonna
agree.
come right out and come out through my spot.
So-
And I think we have to put all this together, find a way to those who cannot afford seawalls, to find a method of borrowing from the city until you can pay it the same way they did the sewer when they put the sewer down. If you didn't have the money, the city financed it, and
Yes.
then they took it out of your damn water bill.
Yes.
But not to go back into this, I'm just talking about projects and milestones, keeping us on track for that.
Yeah, but I understand that, but when we come to the seawall,
We gotta come back to that, I
see,
agree.
you do the sidewalk, and as you go, you build a little bit, until you get the whole thing built. But with the seawall, you're only building city-owned seawalls, and you're not building private, and therefore, when the city is finished, you don't have a seawall.
So,
That's my problem.
so anyway, those are all the projects I had in mind that were on top of mind for me. I recommend that we go back and look at the projects reviewed for the last 12 months to make sure they're all on this list. And then ask for major milestones, like just, what is the next major milestone, what's our target date?
If we can ask staff to take a stab at it and keep it fairly simple, so we've got something on paper to critique, and then we can expand on that. The only other thing I have to say is we have to be careful not to, we had a discussion once, or maybe the commission had the discussion about us, we have to be careful not to overstep what we're asked to do. I do remember a discussion where we'd given them a very, very, very extensive list of things that we thought we could and maybe should be involved in. And the commission said, well, really, a lot of that is what we see ourselves as doing. It's really too much for you. We got involved in City Hall because the City Commission asked us to be a sounding board for opinions. And we didn't get ourselves involved initially. Even now, we're only peripherally involved with the police station because of what's happened. So let's have the list, but be careful, not trying to look at everything that's physical and needs renewing in the city, because that may be too much.
If we decide to say, hey, that's outside of our purview, we just take it off the list.
Yeah.
Right, it's
That's
just,
not
it's,
good to me.
Okay.
but I'll be honest, there's been so many things we reviewed,
Yeah.
I don't know where we left.
No, you have a good point that I can't, it feels like I'm asking several times, well, what's the status of the consent orders? And it always looked good on paper.
That's all I have.
I have one thing,
Roosevelt?
Mr. Chairman. And at a couple of commission meetings back, it was pondered whether or not to make this committee a board.
Yes, Yeah.
Anybody know where that stands? They said they were gonna do it, but they didn't say when.
or can anybody remember when we sunset?
I heard that
March.
Dwayne Spence was working on the new ordinance.
Yeah.
That's what I heard that would create the board. I talked to city auditor about it last time I was at city commission meeting. That's what he told me. So that's what I know.
Well, again, perhaps we can ask staff to follow up and see what's happening about that, because it sounds like we go away in March. if something happens.
I think they were gonna try to do it by the end of the year.
Oh, definitely.
I think, I thought they were gonna do it before the end
Yeah,
of the
that was,
year.
that was my memory as well.
Expiration, what is it, February, March?
I think it's March.
Anything else? I've got something, I think. Well, that was it, actually. It was when do we sunset? Well,
At the appropriate time, I encountered a situation with the city on stormwater problems of the essentially I had a complaint that I received. I said, well, I'm not the city, but I can give you the direction to get to them. And they haven't been unsuccessful, so then I tried as civil engineer and trying to tell them that the area concerned, I'll just go ahead and mention it, it's on Bayview Drive, south of Oakland Park Boulevard. And it's just south of the Northeast 30th Place. What has happened is the Bayview Drive there has expanded their width of their roads. And in doing so, and I noticed, I walked and I made a sketch of the thing. And just found a lot of things that I would have never done when I was with Broward County and the improvement projects, neighborhood improvement projects, of course with the unincorporated areas, but they have open trench. And like a couple foot down instead of the normal swale, which is, let's say, we're talking about 8 foot width. And they would be sloped down to an invert, maybe 6 to 8 inches at the most. That's about 2 feet that they have here at that. And there've been an accident that has occurred once a month
So it's a swale?
since they've done this construction. They failed to move the catch basins over to the flow line, which they should have been. And it's, I even contacted,
What was the, do you not know what the project was?
well, it's just, vehicles are seeing that there's water in the swale. So if they're trying to park or pull over, they pull into what they think is a swale, but it's really a ditch. And the cars get in an accident. They have a sidewalk there and people, will be walking and they could make the same mistake as a vehicle operator. And they start walking in and they fall down in a trench. I mean, it just is an abrupt trench and it's about 2 feet. I made a sketch of it because I thought it would be worthwhile to do that. And as I said, there's a dental office there, and they've had a lot of their patients that pull over thinking it's that, and their cars are wrecked, and what they told me it's something in the order of once a month or so. I've contacted risk management. They weren't aware of any of this. I've contacted the stormwater people to just ask them.
Yeah, so I went out there last week.
It's curbed.
Yeah, exactly, it's curved, so from the roadside, you're running over a curb.
Yeah.
I will say there's inlets in each of those swales, so today, our stormwater operations has asked them to go clean out the structures and to recondition the swale. So
So it's not going to be converted from a ditch to a swale where the water could still get in there with the proper drainage system in there.
Well, it is a swale.
it's a swale and it has
No,
inlets.
it's a swale.
Yeah, it's gonna stay the way it is.
Where does the inlet go?
It connects to the one of the adjacent inlets and then I have to look where it outfalls.
There's an
didn't look
outfall,
down.
so every time it's king tide, it's underwater.
Right,
But to park on it, you have
You
to
have to
cross
jump
a
a
curb.
you gotta jump the curb.
Yeah, you have to jump a curb, you have to be
Well,
pretty
if you've got
bad.
a Range Rover, you can do that.
can, but
Well,
again, that's.
I can't help folks from jumping the curb.
The other thing
Range
is
Rover, you
that
can drive into a pole.
The other thing that I noticed was that the parking lot where the patients are parking, the south end of it is flooded for the entrance and exit. It just seems to me that it's that many accidents, and I'm basing it on what I was told in the office. Somebody better get out there and fix it, because somebody gets seriously hurt, it's gonna be a lawsuit. I'm more interested in the person's safety and on that. That's just, when I was with Broward County, we never allowed any open trenches like that. It had to be a swale. It's a design thing for a swale.
I guess I don't know the distinction between what you're saying, an open trench and a swale.
Yeah, an open trench, let me just say that you've got, say, a sidewalk, and you've got the edge of roadway, whether you got a curb or not, and the trench, would come over and go straight down vertically a couple feet, where the swale would start at the flow line and the sidewalk, say, and it would go a gradual slope in like 6 inches down.
Oh, okay. So the drop-off criteria for pedestrian along a sidewalk, it has to be greater than 2 feet. It has to be greater than 10 inches within 2 feet of the edge of the sidewalk. So I went out there and measured it. We're around 11. This is why I'm having the swale reconditioned. But it meets the criteria. I've designed roads for over 15 years, and I've done this in many areas.
Well, like I said, I was with Broward County, and we wouldn't allow anything like that, because it is, and you have to admit that somebody pulls over, whether you're on a bike or a vehicle, or even a pedestrian, a wheelchair or something, you're gonna get hurt.
I think you need to balance a need for stormwater management, because it's a conveyance swale, right? Or is that what's coming into it? Is that what you're saying, Roberto?
It's swale, but to help with the issue, there's an inlet on each one of those swales, and they're all tied together.
I think it was done part of the FDOT joint venture project.
Exactly,
Right? So they were trying to get water off of Bayview, and that particular area is tremendously inundated in large rain events. So rather than let it pond on the street and let people get into an accident, they're allowing it to pond in the swale, which, to Roberto's point, cars have driven in there and ruined the swale, so it needs to be reconditioned. It's my neighborhood, so I drive past it every day. It's 3-to-1, it meets all the criteria, it's just ugly.
It doesn't, because it's not a swale.
Okay, Ralph.
It goes down vertically, where the swale is only gradually going down maybe 6, maybe 8 inches, and it slopes. So somebody drives on it, they're not gonna, they can drive over it.
If you drive over it,
You're
you're
in trouble. And people have done so, and I just wanted to, wave the red flag saying to the city, get out there and really look at it.
I went out there and looked at it, it meets the criteria.
Just quickly,
Well, then the criteria is
could
wrong.
you put no parking on the swale, a sign or signs?
We'd have to ask Tam, but it doesn't sound like they're parking on purpose.
They're not parking on the swale. Some of them are driving off.
That's what it sounds like.
But they're doing that in order to park there for an hour or something.
No.
our-
It's curb, nobody should be parking there, I don't know who's driving there, I've seen one car that pulled up on that curb when it was a pretty good rain event, he didn't notice, and he was probably shouldn't have been driving in the first place, but his car was stuck up on the curb. That's the only one I've seen, other than, big events, that whole intersection's underwater, so somebody might drive off the side of the road, but that's no different than.
It's there.
Correct, that's no different than driving into a 2-foot puddle and stalling out anyways. The city, to Roberto's point, it's not great, but it meets the criteria.
I'd like to see that criteria, because, with
I thought I sent you the
there's also
criteria.
the two catch basins that are right, just at that T intersection of Northeast 30th Place.
Mhm.
They're still out there in the lane, now they're in the lane. They used to be located at a flow line around.
Right, that's why they installed the 2 additional ones in the swale that tie to those.
And the catch the little basins are like 8-inch square.
Yes, they're nyloplast structures.
Yeah.
So why don't you send an email with your sketch to Roberta? And then you've fully brought it, sounds like staff has reacted and looked at
Okay,
this.
well,
And
like
there's
I
reasons
said,
why it is the way it is. But if you send the sketch to email it to Roberta, then it's all on record.
well, I've put it on record already. I sent it to our Vice Mayor Herbst, and I've sent it to the storm drainage for the city. I've also sent it to risk management. I've just covered them blank, describing this area, and my concern is on a safety issue. And no one can tell me that that is a safe system, treatment for the stormwater in that.
Because of the depth of the swale or ditch, right?
Yeah, somebody pulls
Yeah.
over, yep, there's a curb
Yeah.
there.
The criteria it meets the criteria in the Florida Green Book, which is
Does
the
it-
standard.
Okay. I can see I'm not,
I'm just telling you, I went out there and checked it out.
well, and you should. And I would say that other people should do that too, and
Okay.
I'll just leave it there because
Okay, thank you. So let's leave that one there. I did have one more thing, which was just to go back and reiterate that I have asked that we have a presentation on the financial status of bonds on hopefully at our next meeting, but certainly our meeting pretty soon. And anything else on committee members? Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanna say this is my last meeting, so I wanna thank everybody, thank the staff for coming all these times, and it takes some time out of your busy days, and we really appreciate it and all the work that you're doing. I appreciate the work you're doing, and I wanna thank my colleagues on the team as well. I think this is a really important, now to become an advisory board, but it's a really important committee and board, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. So perhaps we can,
thank you for yours.
yeah, perhaps we can show in the minutes that we recorded our appreciation to James and all his work that he's done. We're all volunteers, as I said, so. Greg?
Wish we did that last thing, but for a future meeting, can we decide whether the city hall going forward, the construction and that is under our purview? And if it is, I'd like us to meet with the owner rep in a future meeting. If it's not,
I don't think it is under our purview. I think we're invited into it by the city commission, but I don't see why, if we have that list, then if we feel that we should be more involved, I don't see why we shouldn't write to the commission and say, do you want us to be more involved in City Hall? So I think it should be shown on the list, and we should decide if we want to be more involved in that. I have a feeling we're going to be invited to be involved in some stages of it, but maybe not as much as some of us would like. Any public comments? I think none.
Oh, no public.
Now I have next scheduled meeting, December the 2nd, but it's December the 1st, isn't it? Maybe I'm looking at my calendar. So it's Monday, December the 1st, right? We're not pushing it because it is the weekend. Is it the week? It's the week after Thanksgiving, is that right? But it will be, our meeting will be Monday, December the 1st, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Right. With that, I think we're done.
Goodbye.
We don't need a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
I've learned that now.
By the way, I went to a tour of the police station, it was great.
Recording stopped.
Do your police station.